So we pick the story up when Arpad and Fristos are on Melia's room on the second floor. Arpad has taken the child in his arms and you are ready to go downstairs. Nicolas Dulac has spent some time speaking with Sillard. Vinif is there, silently taking notice of what's happening.
I give a quick look just to see that we're on the same page with Vin, that he understands that things might get hot.
He got a 7. You don't see him react to your look. He doesn't seem to acknowledge your look.
Well, then I sigh, turn to Sillard and I say, "Good sir, we do not want to impose ourselves upon you and your family. I'll have to be upfront with you. We have serious reason, serious clues that lead us to believe you have been spreading rumors or you have encouraged others to spread rumors about Matos and dear Lady Brigge. We believe this matter took a wrong turn, turned dark, soon after Vrachen turned violent."
Give me 1d10 plus will plus your reputation, notoriously added. You have a 26 and he got a 9. The moment you say these words, he grabs the armchair and looks left and right. I never spread any rumors. No rumors on my behalf. I only said that we should do something about Matos being greedy. He starts breathing heavily. There were others frustrated with him as well.
We will give you a chance to explain yourself, but lying will not be tolerated, because children's lives are at stake. This is sacred, a child in need. In no way do I imply you've been directly responsible for their bad health, but there's a big chance that it was your decision to use less than savory ways to chase Matos away, or have him chased away by the rest of the villagers. Do I have to intimidate him?
We should go with leadership, to which you get the +3. Oof! At 29, he puts his face in his open palms and says, "Yes, I didn't spread any rumors, but this man really frustrates me, really gets on my nerves. I took a little sparkle and made it into a wildfire. I confess, I never thought that it would end this way. I only wanted the people to rise against him, see him for the greedy and incompetent person that he is." What Aniet said made Vrachen very angry, and I really don't know if all this is true. I just saw a chance and grabbed it, talked to the men of the village and told them that we should do something about him. You can see that we were having a hard time already with no one coming through our village anymore.
And do you know who was the man who tried to mend this situation initially, with coin from his own pouch?
I don't know what you're talking about, Sir Knight.
Do you know who fed us and gave us a roof free of charge, so that maybe we could help your children? Not his own. His own is healthy and strong and happy.
This is the moment where Arpad and Fristos step on the ground floor, so you're now all together around the table. Sillard understands what you're talking about, and as he is deep into his palms, you see his shoulders start shaking, you see his whole body shivering. What have I done? I didn't think it would go this far. I only wanted to discourage him, and I know that Circa never liked it here, so I thought that they would pack up things and go.
Comfort yourself, because you were not alone in doing this. It was all of you, or to be more precise, most of you, who couldn't put your differences aside.
Sir Knight, the others didn't have differences with Matos. They were getting along quite fine. It was me who envied him for the inn. It was me who wanted to drive him away.
Yes, but they chose to believe in rumors. Asteradin, do you have what you need to give us an answer?
Beneath ties his arms over his chest and says, "Yes, I know what must be done. We need to talk to Matos once again." He looks at Sillard and says, "You should try and gather the rest of the village at the inn. Both parties need to atone. Matos for what he said, and you for assaulting him.
Turn to Fristos. My friend, do you need to remain here, close to the child?
Fristos looks concerned. I'm quite unsure how to proceed. Does Witcher mean that once Matos and Schiller atone, the child will be healed?
This is a good question.
It should work, yes. Not immediately, but it should.
I think we should take Melia to the tent along with other children, and I will stay with them to see what happens. How about the whole village gather in front of the tent so that in case anything unexpected happens, we can quickly intervene?
Arpad thinks it over. We should definitely bring the child to the tent now, but bring in all the village together.
Or at least those who we suspect responsible.
Vinif said that the whole village must gather at the inn.
I would like all of you to take a deduction roll.
I will put 2 luck.
Nicolas got a 15, Arpad a 16, and Fristos a 17. It all comes back to your mind that you've heard things that contradict, that do not add up. Aniet has said one thing, Zerka has said another, Vrahen acted on rumors, now Szilard has confessed, so it's probably a good idea to have them all together, be it at the inn or around the tent as Fristos suggested. This is your call.
I have had it with these motherfucking villagers from this motherfucking village. Let's get on with it.
Fristos doesn't have to roll for medical knowledge because he already knows that Nicolas caught the illness called Netflixness.
Yeah.
Since Fristos is, the leading expert on health and the health of these children, and Vinif is the one who can tell us how to solve the curse, you two should talk this over and decide where to gather the villagers.
Arpad nods.
Whatever you prefer, Witcher. I think that big open space in front of the tent would be better for all villagers to gather, and anything that would happen will be more plain to see.
Whatever suits you best, gnome. We'll have it your way.
Fristos then claps his hands and go on then.
Arpad moves with the child to the tent.
Before you leave the house, Szilard grabs Nicolas by the hand and says, if any of the children died, and it was on my hands, I would have never lived with this burden. Believe me.
There are only two men predict where their actions might lead to. It is infinitely better to ponder about our actions and their consequences before we take them.
Takes his glass of wine, drinks it up, all in one gulp, and says, I'll meet you at that tent of yours. I'll go around the village and bring everybody.
Let's focus, all of us, right now, on how to help the children.
You move outside and you go to where Arpad has set up the tent in the middle of the village. While you were away, Brigge has brought every other children there. As you bring little Melia inside, you also see the 3 remaining children and the 3 mothers.
Thank you, dear woman, for bringing them all here. If everything goes according to plan, they all will be healed before the sun sets.
I really hope you're right, Doctor. I pray for it with all my heart. Is there anything more I can do to help you?
For now, just please take care of the children.
She nods and steps inside the tent. So, am I to assume that all of you go to the inn?
Yeah.
You take some steps and realize that Vinif is not following. As you turn around to look at him, he just gestures for you with his hand that he will remain around the tent.
It's the moment he disappears.
Not yet, not yet. So you open the door and see Zerka with Matos and Gulue sitting around the table eating. Gulue is the first one to stand up, as children usually do. Teacher, you have returned.
I have. Did you finish your assignment?
I did everything you told me to do. I guess you're not here for lesson, are you?
Sadly, I'm not. Did your father or mother give you any chores to do?
Oh, I am to do the dishes after we eat.
Good people, I did not want to interrupt you. When you're finished, please meet me outside. I look at both of them.
They look at you and leave their tableware on the side and say, we can do this now, yes? Zerka wipes her mouth. Matos stands up. He seems quite anxious. He wants this thing to be resolved.
And we step outside. I turn to both of them and I say, we are very close to a conclusion, but I must warn you, dear Matos. Even though Sillard made sure the rest of the villagers would turn against you, feeding on those rumors, if we're right, you're not the sole responsible for what's happening to the children. I want you to promise to me that we will set aside your differences with Sillard, at least for the time being, no matter what you hear in the next few minutes, because the whole village is going to gather, and you will all have to listen carefully, without fighting amongst yourselves.
Matos takes Zerka by the hand. You can see very gentle and tender movements from him to her, caresses her palms and says, "What rumors, my lord?"
I look at Zerka. Seems you haven't told him.
Zerka lowers her head and says, "I'm very sure about him, and I wouldn't want to remind him of things of the past."
But Matos, you do know the reason Brachen assaulted you, do you not?
Vrahin is usually very calm. There was a reason for that? I thought all of them were angry because I asked them to eat here.
Bracken has been led to believe you have acted dishonorably against his sister, the Lady Brigge.
Dishonorably against his sister.
I have rolled for human perception.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
Arpad has a 19, Nicolas has a 21, and Fristos has a 20 with a 10. You can roll once again. Another 10! Ooh! Every time you hit a 10, you need to re-roll. Let's see where it stops. So you have a 35. All of you understand that the couple is very honest. Matos indeed didn't know anything about it. The body language is there. You can see that this man never ever thought of any other woman than Zerka. He opens his eyes wide and says, "I respect the woman. I even buy herbs from her from time to time. I use them for cooking. She's been a wonderful neighbor. I would never..." He turns around to look at his wife. "You heard of this? Why didn't you tell me so? You know I'm true to you." She leans towards him and gives him a kiss. "I know, my sweet man. I know. It was Aniet who said all these things about you." Matos turns his head towards you and then lowers his gaze at the ground. "Now I understand. I thought this was over. As you can see, things are complicated." He looks at you now. "It wasn't just me, or just Vrachen, or Sillard."
Arpad crosses his arms. Looks at Matos, with the look of someone who's lost his belly. "What do you mean you thought it was over? Was there something between you and Klopp's wife?"
He is very hesitant to answer personally to you because of your gaze.
Should be my fucking bed.
Well, you had the chance, you could eat the dog. Fristo said so. Do you know this thing you do subconsciously when you want to avoid someone, but you keep looking and tilt your head backwards as if you're getting away?
Yes, yeah.
So he does exactly that. There was nothing going on between me and Aniet, ever. I always had eyes for Zerka only, and she knew that. I know she liked me and she would want to be my wife. I thought that this was over. It seems that her heart is not in the right place.
I guess I can understand your side of the story. I look towards the rest and say, well, shall we go then?
What do you say, Sir Knight?
I say that you haven't given me a reason to doubt your sincerity yet. I believe that you have been wronged, but more than one person has played a part. We can't be sure until Master Witcher informs us of the nature of the curse. So let's see if we can work together and solve it. Shall we?
Arpad nods.
Yes, of course. Let's go.
No, wait. Before we leave, I discreetly step over to our good friend the gnome. Just whisper into his ear. You might want to go check upstairs first.
What's this brilliant idea about?
Unless you've forgotten there's a loose snake up there.
What? He hasn't given anyone any trouble. Why?
No, but listen, we don't want to be in the middle of this meeting in the village and then suddenly there's a snake that like jumps out a window or something.
Players will be players.
Does Fristos know that it's about the snake, or do I think that there is something going on that we should check before we go?
I've only said that you should check upstairs.
Ah, I roll for dwarf perception.
No. Go for deduction. The perception would be you're trying to gauge whether someone speaks the truth.
Okay.
I was so sure that this will be a fumble after 2 tenths. I was so sure.
Okay, so
You have a 9.
I don't know it's about Zbigniew, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think I am convinced it's something important to the case. So in order to solve everything, I nod and begin to go upstairs. But the dwarf goes with me, right?
Yes.
I assume Nicolas waits for us.
I will remain there with Matos and wait for you to get back, I guess.
Nicolas, Matos, and Zerka stay outside. Fristos with Arpad move into the inn and go to the upper floor.
Yes.
As we enter the upper floor, I whisper to Arpad's ears. Do you think there are any more clues up here?
I go and stand in front of the door and I say, your snake is loose.
What? What do you mean by loose?
Your snake is out of the bag. It is not contained within the sack.
But he's in his room, right?
For now.
I open the door to check on Zbigniew.
I immediately move away from the door.
As I enter the room, I see that the chandelier that is hanging from the ceiling doesn't look the way it looked before. I take a closer look and I see the robe upon which it hangs is decorated with Zbigniew, who decided that this is obviously a brilliant place to have some fun. I see that Zbigniew spirals around the rope and is having fun of his life by swinging. I smile. Oh, Zbigniew, what a wonderful creature. I take some rare food from my bag and leave it on the floor so that he can eat something. I close the door and say, Zbigniew is perfectly fine. I don't know what you have against him.
Arpad just gets a foul look.
We witness that the wall of my room has a little hole in it, just the size that Zbigniew could take to visit the kitchen from time to time.
Right. Burning the inn down.
Is this a hole you made for Zbigniew, or...?
I'm a bit confused and say, wait a minute, the hole was there the whole time? Did Matos say anything about his food missing?
I don't think so. Besides, of course, eating my bear meat.
That was meaningful and hurtful.
He's insinuating the snake is loose. I don't like no snake going loose.
After Fristos patch up the hole, he looks upon Arpad and says, you see, Zbigniew had all the freedom he wanted and he didn't hurt a living thing. Why are you all so mad at this small, beautiful pet?
Arpad just turns around, walks down the stairs very quickly.
What a coward.
Fristos looks disappointed, shrugs and follows downstairs.
So you rejoin the others and...
Well, we apologize you, Eshin, for this Zbigniew side quest.
Yeah, Zbigniew is not only a valued member of this team, but he's also...
Wait till he bites someone, an enemy, and poisons them. Then you will understand his value.
how can I say, a subplot in itself, with challenges and combat encounters and verbal combat encounters as well.
This slight detour has given the rest of the village enough time to gather around. Once you move closer, this would be a good time for all of you to give me an awareness roll.
I add 2 luck points.
Nicolas has a 27, Arpad a 22, and Fristos... And Fristos gets a 1 and needs to re-roll. Fristos has an 8. So, Nicolas and Arpad listen to voices coming from the villagers' whispers, especially the woman, Anya, talking with Becca. Look at him, he's coming. He has the nerve to show up here. I wish our husbands put him in his place. So you approach the place that kind of feels like a stirring pot. There is a circle on one half of it, the men of the village are standing, on the other half, the wives.
Before the Fristos stands with the others, can he go to the tent quickly and check on the kids?
While everyone takes their position and Vinif moves towards the middle of the circle, you go inside the tent for a quick glance. The children are asleep at the moment and their condition is not changed. So Fristos returns, stands next to his friend Nicolas. Being so small in stature allows you to sneak in front of him. Vinif walks slowly, trying to look at everyone around him and says, "We have gathered you here because my companions and I have come to a conclusion on what the cause of this curse is. Now you need to listen very carefully. This is the moment where you decide if this thing ends now or keeps tormenting your children." The people of the village do not feel at ease around the Witcher. He may be there to help them, and they have understood that, but he is still a mutant. He is still a creature they do not perfectly understand. So as he talks, there are some nervous movements on the villager's part. He understands that, looks at Nicolas, Arpad, and Fristos and says, "Perhaps you should do it."
Fristos looks at Nicolas and I pat him as high as I can reach, and I assume if he can lean towards me, he can hit me. So if he does that, I say, "You talk, my friend, as a human knight. Those villagers hold respect towards you."
Your trust honors me, my friend. I clear my throat, not being used to addressing crowds. A calamity has found you. It would have been easy to point the finger to a sole perpetrator. It is not so. Things rarely are that simple. People of jealousy, you have been unwise. You have stopped trusting each other, even though you are such a small community and you need each other. You turned against one of you. And for what? For a few cruel words that he uttered out of bitterness. You were ready to believe in rumors without evidence, and you wronged him. You wronged him greatly, almost destroyed his reputation, and in such a small place, how can a man live with his family, alone, without help from those around him? He's not totally innocent, no, because in his bitterness and anger, he found something dark in him momentarily and wished for truly bad things to happen to you. And bad things did happen to the most innocent among you, your children. By the actions of that man, and I point at Matos, who tried to bring help, we have come to a conclusion. Matos, Sillard, Aniet, Vrachen, they must all openly admit their actions. And anyone else has acted rashly and without compassion should step forward and mimic them before you can leave this whole ordeal behind.
I think that the way you took it makes more sense to go with persuasion rather than leadership.
I will spend 4 luck to go to plus 16 total. Without any reputation bonus, it's 21. If I have a reputation bonus, it's 24.
21 is enough. The murmurs and buzzing talk quiets down progressively as you speak until when you say your final word, there is total silence all around. The first one to speak, Sillard. I admit that as soon as I heard the rumors my wife brought, I saw a chance to take advantage of your frustration towards Matos and start an incident that would finally send him away for my personal gain. I was the greedy one. For that I am sorry. I truly am. Please forgive me, brother-in-law. Vrachen is the second one to step in front. Sir Knight, Vatgern, it was my pride, my family's honor that forced my hand against this man. whom I know since he was born. I understand now that I should have never done it. I really am sorry for what I did. But I'll say this. I would protect my family and my family's honor anytime. Only next time, I will first look for the truth before I act. Matos then moves 2 steps in front and says, It's alright. It's alright. It's my fault as well. I should have never said those words, and it was difficult for everyone. I should have never asked you to come to the inn. Never told you that I sent for help, for people to come and rid us of this beast that was killing our people and our business. I didn't want to brag, that's why I never mentioned it. Now I see I was wrong. I should have never said those horrible things. Please forgive me. Please, Rachen, believe me. I never laid eyes on your sister. My heart is given to Circa and Circa only. Klopp moves forward. Over his shoulder, he talks to Aniet and says, Do you have anything to say for yourself, woman? Do you know that your own caprice could have killed all our children? Jealousy's future. Are you at the very least ashamed of your actions? At least ask for forgiveness. The Witcher said so. The Knight said so. This curse will not break until all of us forgive each other. So naturally everybody's eyes turn towards Aniet, who now, contrary to her exterior appearance, that of a pretty young woman, now looks despicable and ugly because of her actions. She cries horribly, I never thought it will get this far. Please forgive me. Forgive me. Klopp crosses his arms and says, What must we do now, Nicolas?
I'm looking a little bit nervous. Now that they ask me this, I turn to Vinif and scratch my chin, which is birdless, and I say, This I hoped the Master Witcher could explain.
Now you'll return to your houses. Each one of you will cook your child's favorite meal. You will leave it outside your doorstep, under the threshold, as Nicolas told you, only if you are honest about your feelings towards the others. If you find the strength to forgive your neighbors. This is the only condition. After that, all of you will go to the inn, and Matos will cook for everyone, and you will see that if this is true on his part, your children will grow an appetite and eat as they should have. The Witcher takes 3 steps back and readjusts his hood. Matos opens his arms and says, Yes, I will cook for everybody. I promise things will be better from now on. He turns towards Sillard and says, I forgive you, brother-in-law, if you forgive me. The 2 men come close to each other and hug tightly.
Arpad is just watching, sipping out of his league, all this kind of stuff.
As I watch this, I leave the people in their, not exactly celebrations, but I move towards the inn.
As Nicolas is leaving, Matos approaches Arpad, touches you by the shoulders and says, As I promised, tonight's dinner will be a special treat for you, because you helped us no matter what. I thank you for that, and I hope that when you leave our village, you will not think of me as a dickhead.
I guess we will see after dinner.
You are a tough nut to crack, Sir Dwarf, but I think I can manage.
I look forward to it.
I'll want to find Gulwe.
When you enter the inn, she is there by the kitchen, and she is drawing on a piece of paper.
What have you got there, little lady? And I peek over her shoulder.
It's my mom and dad, you, Mr. Arpad, and Mr. Fristos.
That's a beautiful drawing. I have good news.
You do?
Yes. Soon, I hope that you will not be alone and get to spend time with your friends again. Play as your heart desires.
And my cousin Melia as well?
Hopefully, yes.
Did you do it?
No, I did not do it. Your parents and the other villagers, your Uncle Sillard, they all had to do it. And I think they may have learned a very important lesson and probably also taught us one. I have one request, that I will leave to you a collection of exercises, and when I get the chance, I will send to you books for you to further your knowledge, and that you will read them. Perhaps if I settle down and I have a writing address, you can send to me letters, your thoughts about those books, and maybe some of the exercises, so I can grade them accordingly. Is this a deal?
It sure is a deal, teacher. And she hugs you, squeezes your legs and thighs as much as she can.
Now remember, a strong lady such as yourself is bound to surpass the other children in any kind of physical game you might play. Please allow them to regain their strength.
I will do so, teacher. I will be patient. I give you my word. Everybody is in better spirit right now. Each one of the fathers steps into the tent, takes his child, and carries it over to their house. The couples moving away are all cheerful, talkative, laughing, all except Klopp and Aniet, who move in silence as Klopp has Rutger in his arms. So the afternoon passes relatively quiet. When the evening comes, you go downstairs to the main hall for your special dinner. Arpad takes his place at the head of the long table that Matos and Zerka has set up, and each one of you has at least 3 plates of food in front of him. You can smell all sorts of things coming from the kitchen, but the surprise comes at the end. Matos leaves a silver platter, smiles at Arpad and says, "The Witcher left. He said I should prepare these as well for you. He gave me most of the bear meat he had. He asked that you should raise your glasses to his health." He bows down and leaves.
Fristos starts to devour.
Arpad doesn't actually need to say. He's too busy, he's eating.
You can describe your feelings tasting the Holy Grail.
He slices off a piece of the bear meat. He puts it in his mouth and eats it. Everything goes black. And he just sees fireworks in his eyes. And he can't hear anything, see anything else. As he's just slowly munching on this piece of bear meat. He forgets all semblance of time and space. He sees the Mother Creatix. He thanks her. And then he just chomps down on this piece of bear meat.
At some point during dinner, I turn to Fristos and I say, "My friend, I must ask for your forgiveness. I have omitted your payment. You packed me up real good, and I feel better than ever. A part of our reward must go to you, and I produce 35 crowns, and I give them to you."
35 coins.
Yes, of course, it's coins.
Fristos stares at the money and thinks if he should take it. On one hand, it's his friend, and on the other, Fristos doesn't have any money. As much as you witness myself struggling, myself as in Smicky, you can also see Fristos appear as if he was struggling to accept money that you have sacrificed yourself to collect, but finally inhales, exhales, and says, "Thank you, Nicola. You are truly a great friend, and I will remember the gesture to the final days of my life." And as he says that, he takes the money.
You have earned more than that. It is my hope that you will get what you are owed during our travels.
And Fristos quite theatrically takes Nicola into his arms and hugs him.
I smile.
It's been a long time since the Chimeras had enjoyed such a nice, light mood, jokes being thrown around, people inside having a good time.
Before Fristos falls asleep, he feeds Zbigniew with leftover pieces of bear meat. Even though it was delicious, he remembered to leave something for his snake.
Sacrilege, Arpad would say.
Your time is long due. You have a mission ahead of you to return to Etolia. Each one of you goes to bed with a lighter and softer heart. The whole sense of accomplishment that you stumbled upon difficult situations and came through. The bond you have created is even stronger, and the people you leave behind will have a chance of redemption and living a better life because of you. This is the warmest blanket to cover you during this chilly night.